your child can be in Gen Ed, your child should be in Gen Ed. Whatever is the closest to kind of typical that your child can handle and that will bless your child educationally, that's what your child gets. And I think the best way to explain it is maybe with an example. So let's say that there's a child that's on the autism spectrum and is verbal, does pretty well academically, but has some behavioral issues. A school setting, an IEP team, may try to steer that child to a special day class or an odd core class. You know, I can see their perspective. A child is disruptive. Child may not be accessing their education to the extent that perhaps they could in a smaller setting. But then the IEP team presents it this way. Wouldn't you like a smaller setting for little Johnny? A smaller setting in and of itself can be detrimental, and it can be a violation of least restrictive environment if Johnny could function in a gen ed setting with a one-on-one, for example, a BII. Fortunately for Johnny and for the parent, the state of the law is that the district is required to see what kind of accommodation, what kind of supports can be given to Johnny in that gen ed setting so that he can thrive right there. A lot of studies have shown that children with special education needs do better in classrooms with typical peers because of the modeling in part. And so that's something that I think we just really have to be aware of and very cognizant of. Well, why wouldn't every school site, why wouldn't every school district or IEP team and just be jumping on the LRE bandwagon and insisting that every child who can be in a general education setting should be? Resources, because of the child's special education needs in order to thrive in a general ed setting, a general ed classroom. If a BII is required, if hours of RSP are required, if different AAC devices are required, and modification, that's a lot. That's a lot of resources. Despite which, I think we always say, right? I get it, school district. We love you, public education. That's not my child's problem. That's not my child's problem. And my mission is to get what my child's entitled to under the law. And in that case, LRE really is your friend. LRE, or least restrictive environment, can feel like an obstacle in situations where a parent is looking for what's thought of or called a more restrictive environment, and the IEP team is disagreeing. We had this just recently where some clients are very much in favor of their child being placed in a special day class, and the IEP team just disagrees. And they think that the special day class is too restrictive. Then what's going to break that tie? And what can break that tie is data. So we're getting more assessments, getting IEEs to bring some other expertise into the mix. I think sometimes parents can imagine that a smaller class size, a special day class in and of itself, is somehow miracle working. Can I urge you, if at all possible, for you to visit the specific classroom that you have in mind? Because the quality varies so much. You may have a special day class where there is a master teacher and she is a wonder worker. Everybody wants that teacher. On the other hand, there might be a special day class, and I've visited several of them, they were snake pits. They were horrendous. Teachers were literally apologizing to me for what I was seeing. Teachers were telling me, no, I don't think this classroom would be a fit for the students. So people, if you can visit the classroom in question, that is going to make all of the difference. And it is going to be a huge factor in you and your team making a decision. That visit can also be your ally if you want your student to stay in a general education setting. Just like I said, I promise you, the parent literally said, as I described the student, oh no, this would not be a good fit. Well, guess what I was able to say? I was able to go back to the IEP team and say, you know, that class you were talking about, well, we went and visited. And the teacher said, oh, heck no, don't send him here. This is not gonna work out for him. So there's really, in my mind, no substitute for visiting not just a gen ed campus or a special day class, but the class that's in question. And you're asking yourself, among other things too, will that teacher be returning? I like to talk about a related topic, and that is non-public schools. Non-public school, of course, is further up on the list of restricted, gen ed, special day class, non-public school. And I think, once again, as with a prospective special day class setting, non-public schools have to be visited because they vary so much. And I have to say, it's not necessarily the case that the school with the best reputation or the school with the highest rating on Good Schools or the school with the most stars is the best fit for your child. Always we're talking about the best fit for your child. Once we advocated very strongly for a particular non-public school that the district was not contracted with, and in fact, it was on the district's no-go list, and because of these perceived deficits, it was a little dinky non-public school. It really was, but it was perfect for this particular teenager. It was. So we had to fight very, very hard for that and got it. Didn't look good on paper, but when you visited and you could feel the heart and the soul of the place, it was going to be a great fit. Other placement options that are, again, a little higher up on that LRE list, again, more restrictive. And that would include a home hospital setting, and it includes as well residential treatment center. Home hospital is attainable. It's generally going to be short term. It is not the same as independent study, where you get a packet sent home for a student to do just by themselves. Home hospital, there's a teacher. There's a teacher that works with your child. Sometimes now it's via video or telephone, but again, it's the one teacher assigned to work with your child while your child's in the hospital or at home for any number of reasons, including health-related reasons. Residential treatment centers seem so scary. They do, but I would submit that they're not as scary as the alternative, which is untreated and non-therapeutic scenarios. Your child is just not getting what your child needs in order to thrive. And this generally has to do with mental health issues. It's there as a possibility. It's there as an alternative. In California, you're going to get to visit a couple of times a year, and that is going to be paid for. You're going to be having routine phone calls and video chats with the child, and it's not forever. I think what I'm trying to say is that I don't want you to be afraid of any placement in advance. I don't want there to be types of placements that are automatic as a heck no. Always, I want you to be open to whatever the student needs for that season. And LRE should be on your side in that respect.